Another special guest with us that we want to introduce. This is Randy Sundell, director of the Vernon Hills High School Band that we heard a bit ago performing the final two movements of the Symphonie Fantastique by Hector Berlioz.
Fantastique.
And it was a fantastic performance. So Randy, thank you very much. Great work and
thank you,
and great job with the ensemble. It was a tremendous performance. So, tell us a little bit about what's happening in the Vernon Hills program, lately, and how you get the kids to perform at that level. I mean, that's what the young directors who are watching would love to know the secret on that.
Well, one thing we do is we encourage the secret. Yeah, no, we encourage private lessons. So all the kids in that group are taking privately. And we just work and encourage and just work on listening, a lot of listening, not overplaying, blending, and just attention to detail, and making sure that if something's wrong, you fix it. You say, play that differently and then go on. I make sure it's right every time, and then. And then eventually, of course, it doesn't work right away, but eventually, after enough repetitions, that's another secret: repetition, correct repetition. Yes. And I listen to them play individually, critique them that way. I have them record themselves as well, and I listen to them then, so they get a lot of feedback. So it's just a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. And the kids enjoy it.
And it seems like, too, that they get a lot of ownership in making some of those musical decisions, and it gets them thinking about that and what to listen for and how to adjust and how to, blend in with the group. One of the things that I was telling Pat during the break was that, your ensemble is fantastic, but within that ensemble, I know you've got some outstanding individual players, people who have been, first chairs in all states and that type of thing, here in Illinois. So you've got some fantastic individual instrumentalists, yet they all blend well together into that ensemble.
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time doing that. And earlier this week we did a preview concert for the parents and we recorded it. That's another thing we do as an ensemble. We record and listen back. And you had heard what we played on Monday night versus tonight. It's just a totally different ensemble sound because they heard, well, wait, no, I'm not blending, I'm not listening, I'm not, doing all those things. It's, it was a little too individualistic, and then, they heard it and they adjusted to it, and, and then, I think it got better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key pieces for growth of an ensemble is to be able to hear the truth, and because if we're doing the right thing from the teaching standpoint, when they're performing, we want them performing, not critiquing. Right. But we don't. That's an after the fact event. But to have the truth there and be able to have, digital proof of reality versus your memory of it is a really important growth step. So we do a lot of this for young directors, and I think that's one of those ones that is so easy to do now too. Technology makes it simple and
you
cheap.
do it on your phone.
Exactly.
If you need to, and then just and then play it back. I mean, it's so simple to do, and I don't know if enough people do that, or how often they do it.
Right.
And I also, of course, play. They listen to professional recordings too. Now, for the pieces we played, I didn't play any band recordings for them. They only heard orchestral recordings because that's the point. You got to try and sound like the orchestra. So that's another thing I do as well, is I make sure that they have a good understanding of what they're listening to, or what they should sound like and how they should sound.
We were talking about that earlier today with the advent of YouTube and what a great teaching tool that is now, where you'll send the kids off to listen to find a piece and listen to this one particular piece on YouTube, but then they'll find all the other pieces that same composer has done, and how directors are having students coming back and saying, hey, this guy wrote this too, wasn't this great?
Chip Stefano was talking about when they worked on Persicetti's pageant, and then that the kids were coming back going, hey, I checked out the divertimento, it was awesome, and so some of that sort of like side playlist thing is.
Yeah, he'd probably do that too.
It's helpful. But the other thing that I heard, though, which I think is important, I've worked at a couple places in this last few years where the directors are asking me like everything about what needs to happen in the rehearsal to make it so that it can be like these programs that he or she listed, and you are the next amongst every person preceding you that we've interviewed that says subtly, without saying it, that there's an enormous amount of time invested in improvement of bands on an ensemble and an individual basis. That doesn't happen in the band rehearsal.
Right.
That is not advertised as a part of the job description, and it's not. I think it's frankly not one of those things that's not often talked about. But there's certainly a perception in the places that I've been in the last few years among teachers that have 5 years of experience or less, that places like yourself and middle schools like Chip has at McCracken, where things are happening and it only ever happens in the rehearsal and it never happening anywhere else. Chip talked about it's like, well, I do pullouts all day long because his program's at the front and the back end of the day. And that's one of that sort of that fourth wall that I want to push down and just remind people that you said it very subtly, but you said it, which is like, I hear them individually, we hear them in sectionals, I have them send me tapes, and so there's an enormous investment that happens well past the rehearsal, where I feel like people are thinking like, I got to get all my techniques right, so if I do it exactly right 5 days a week or 4 days a week or however many days a week for that 1 hour block or 55 minutes or maybe 90-minute block schedule, that we get it all done there, and it's like, that's not the case anywhere.
No, you can't. No, you won't. The kids have more investment as well. They will practice if they know they're going to be listened to. They will put the effort into it. The other thing too, I had 4 or 5 people coming out and work with my group in preparation for this. So I open my classroom and have people in there because they will listen to others, a lot, quicker than they'll listen to me after a while, because I'm just another voice after several months.
Sure.
So and then they come in, then immediate change happens that way, and it just that's a big thing too. People are sometimes afraid to have people come and work because they're afraid of the critique that's going to come with it. But that's what you need, though, because as I tell my students as well, I'm not just the clinician is not just there for you, but they're there for me too.
Yeah.
I need to learn from them. Dr. Peterson was out, Don Shoup was out. I had Jim Lambrecht from Augustana came out. Frank Listina was out a week. So I've had a bunch of great people out, helping me. You can't. It's very difficult to do this all by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too much going on. There's too many things involved, and you just need help. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. I think that's the part that I think goes unadvertised frequently. And if you're watching from afar, you think like, wow, how is that one guy doing that? And
yet it's one of the greatest parts about the profession is that the cooperative nature of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that you can have those sort of things happen, and that it's well, I did. John Gomez was a great music educator in Phoenix, Arizona, and he just retired from Dobson High School. And it was he's got a couple weeks of school left, but this last concert was Wednesday night, and I emceed for it. And it was a great line that he had in the script that I was reading, thanking everybody that came, and his faculty, administration, and teachers and faculty, and all these different layers. And then he just said, basically, it's that when we're raising young kids and we're raising musicians, it's a whole village that's involved.
Yeah.
And I feel like that when a young band director is coming out of school, they're thinking like, okay, I gotta go tackle this. It's just me, and it's like, no. That's the quickest way to burn out. Actually, is to have that approach.
Yeah, my first year, that's kind of what I did, and then, I got smart.
I think it's a common mistake.
And just because, and second year though, I got rid of that and started getting help. But it's very true. Community's also very important. Vested community, which is what we have up in our area. That's another secret, and that takes work too. To get everybody invested into understanding. We do we do evening rehearsals in preparation for this. During the month of April and May. The kids had APs this week. They had to, a lot of them had to come, came right from an AP test into band for half the time or whatever the case was. So, so there's, but that commitment is there, and they understand that, and and it works.
Well, and you have to learn how to roll like that too.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you
as
do.
a teacher.
Yeah, you prepare. I mean, I know a year in advance that I got, the week before I have to do this. I'm going to have, maybe a third of my group gone for all, if not part of the period.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it can be in certain situations, depending on the piece of repertoire and who happens to be at whatever test.
You got to figure out what you're going to rehearse that day.
I'm missing melody for these 4 pieces.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. So you.
Or all of a sudden you're in the middle of a piece and you're like, where is that counter line we've been working on? And you're like, oh wait, they're at the science AP
that's
thing.
right.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think, but that's again some of those things that there isn't time, frankly, to address that in an undergraduate music
No.
curriculum that you roll into, and that's why I love being involved with this, because it's such a great resource for
Mhm.
teachers to either remember and refresh, but especially for the young ones that are have so many of impressions that are based from looking from afar that really are incorrect, and so it's great to have you guys here to talk about that and do that. So I think we're going to get ready to go
Yeah,
inside.
I think we're
here
going to
now
need to
for
wrap. It
this,
sounds like they're getting ready to go. Randy, thank
Right.
you again.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
and terrific work.
Thank you.
Terrific work
Bravo,
with the
man.
group.
Bravo.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thank you.